At my nephew's birthday, that brat looked me in the eye, unwrapped the $900 gaming console I paid for, and said, "My mom says you're just the family loser. If you vanished, we'd finally have peace." Everyone laughed. I smiled. Then, I pulled out my phone, and in under 60 seconds, their entire financial lifeline, mortgage, utilities, credit, was obliterated. It was a hot July afternoon in Corpus Cove, Texas. Sweat clung to the back of my neck as I stood in my sister Dana's backyard, surrounded by cheap balloons and cheaper beer. 30 people I barely tolerated swarmed around plastic tables, gossiping, drinking, and pretending I didn't exist. Except for one, Rylan. 13, smug, already a clone of his manipulative mother. He tore off the gift wrap like a raccoon in a trash bin and pulled out the PS5 I paid for. Then, without missing a beat, he looked up and sneered. "Uncle Wes, Mom says you're like furniture. Useless, dusty, and just taking up space." Laughter exploded around the patio. Dana didn't even pretend to be shocked. She grinned. My mother howled like a drunk hyena. "My father?" He slapped his thigh and muttered. Finally, someone said it. Even Aunt Margie snorted and said, "Well, he's not wrong." I just nodded. No one noticed how tight my fists were clenched. No one cared how red my face burned. I had been the ATM, the free handyman, the emergency Uber, the dog sitter, the idiot who always said yes. But this time was different. I reached into my pocket and tapped open the app. 2 taps. Confirm. Everything I'd set up for them, bills, subscriptions, payments, even their food delivery accounts, vanished. The mortgage, gone. Utility autopay, canceled. Rylan's school laptop, Wi-Fi, disabled. They didn't know it yet, but the countdown had started. That night I didn't go home. I emptied my apartment in under an hour, dropped my keys in the mailbox, and disappeared. The next morning, they found the note I left. It wasn't long. Just 5 words, scrawled on the back of a crumpled Walmart receipt. "Ask Dana what she said." Within hours, my phone exploded. Missed calls, texts. Dana led the charge. Dana: "What the hell did you do?" Mom: "You ungrateful little freak." Dad: "You think this is funny?" Rylan: "Console won't connect. Fix it." I didn't reply. By 10 a.m., they were at my old place banging on the door like rabid dogs. By noon, Dana was sobbing on. Facebook about betrayal and family breakdown. By 4 p.m., my dad was on the local community page warning people that I was emotionally unstable and dangerous. I was at a diner 2 towns over eating pancakes and sipping coffee in complete silence. That night, I dropped a package on their front porch. No knock. No note. Inside was a stack of printed emails, confirmations of every time I paid Dana's rent, my dad's overdue property taxes, my mom's cable, and her insulin. Rylan's school trip, Aunt Margie's teeth, and taped on the back, the Wi-Fi, password for my new apartment, just to rub it in. By day 3, the screaming started. Mom called sobbing. "We don't have hot water," Dad raged. "The power company said we're 4 months behind. What the hell, Wesley?" Dana texted. "If you think this is funny, I hope you rot alone. We're family." I sent one message. Exactly. Day 4. They came to my work. Dana walked into my job red-eyed and furious, holding Rylan's now useless PlayStation in both hands like it was a dead puppy. "You think you're better than us?" she screamed in the lobby. "You're nothing without us." My boss blinked. My co-workers stared. I calmly said, "Ma'am, I don't know who you are. Please leave before security arrives." And she did. I was done being their safety net. Done being the family joke with a debit card. They built a prison from my money and called it family. I burned it down and left them in the ashes, and I hadn't even started the real revenge yet. I thought the tantrums would die out after a few days. I was wrong. By the end of the week, they weren't just calling, they were showing up, everywhere. Mom parked outside my apartment like a vulture, blasting gospel music from her car speakers, and sobbing into a tissue. Dana brought Rylan and made him hold up a sign that said, "Forgive us, Uncle Wes." Forgive you? For what? Humiliating me? Mocking me while using my money to keep your life together? The hypocrisy was suffocating. That same night, I got a text from Dad. "Dad, we can't pay the mortgage. Happy now?" Happy? No, I wasn't happy, but I was finally clear, clean, free. Then came the voicemail. Dana's voice, shaking. "If we lose the house, it's your fault. You're tearing this family apart, Wesley. Are you proud of yourself?" I played it twice, then I laughed. But freedom has a strange way of testing you. 4 nights later, I woke up to shouting outside my window. Not yelling, screaming. I opened the blinds and saw Dad in the parking lot, shirtless, holding a baseball bat. Wes, you want to destroy your family? Fine, come down here and face me like a man. It was 2:13 a.m. My upstairs neighbor flicked on her light and yelled, "Shut up before I call the cops!" He turned and screamed back, "Call them! My son already called the damn lawyers." Lawyers? I grabbed my phone. Sure enough, 3 missed calls from a blocked number, a voicemail I hadn't listened to. "Mr. Mercer, this is a courtesy call from Langley and Breen regarding a potential civil matter filed against you by a family member. Please return our call at your earliest convenience." Unbelievable. They were actually trying to sue me. I had canceled my support. I hadn't stolen a cent. Every payment had been voluntary and documented. They were desperate. But desperation makes people dangerous. The next day, I went to the grocery store. As I loaded up on eggs and frozen pizza, I caught a glimpse of Dana's best friend, Heather, near the cereal aisle. She was staring straight at me, eyes wide, phone in hand. A minute later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. They know where you shop now. Not smart. I left the cart right there and walked out. I didn't look back. That night, I finally opened the burner phone I'd bought weeks before, just in case. I messaged 3 people. 1, my landlord, to request a lock change. 2, my boss, to ask for 2 weeks' leave. And 3, my old friend Tyler. Tyler was a Navy vet who now ran a charter fishing company on the Gulf. He owed me for covering the cost of his boat engine last year. "Need a place to lay low," I texted. "Off the grid!" His response came fast. "Keys under the back tire. Boat's gassed. Come tonight." I packed a duffel, tossed the rest in a storage locker, and by midnight, I was in the driver's seat of my beat-up Subaru, highway lights, stretching ahead like a runway. By sunrise, I was on Tyler's boat, the Hollow Hook, watching waves slap the hull like angry palms. The sea was quiet, the sky blood orange. I exhaled for the first time in what felt like years. And then, my burner phone buzzed. Rylan. Somehow, some damn way. He sent a photo. It was of my childhood bedroom, trashed. Drawers pulled open, shelves knocked down. My old high school trophies shattered on the floor. "Your legacy," the caption read. I stared at it. Not angry, empty. A part of me expected it, that they'd eventually turn inward, start eating each other. But no, they still had time for cruelty. I replied with a photo of my own, a sunrise over the ocean, a can of beer, my bare feet on the edge of the deck. My legacy. 2 days passed in peace, no calls, no texts, until Tyler's dog, a 3-legged retriever named Hank, started barking. I peered through the cabin window. Dana, on the dock, wearing sunglasses and a desperate smile. My stomach dropped. How did she find me? I stepped outside slowly. She held up both hands like a hostage negotiator. "I'm not here to fight." "You brought Rylan?" I said, spotting him peeking out from behind the car. "No," she said. "Just me." "Why?" She stepped closer. "Because everything's falling apart, Wes. Mom's sick. Dad hasn't worked in a month. They're blaming me. Everyone's blaming me." I said nothing. "I'm sorry," she added. Still nothing. She reached into her bag and pulled out a crumpled envelope. I wrote it down. Everything. What I said at the party. What I made Rylan say. It was me. All me. I took the envelope. Didn't open it. She looked at me, tears sliding down her cheek. "Wes, we're done without you. Please." I stared at her. "You were done the second you let your kid spit poison at me while you grinned." She blinked. "You think sorry fixes that?" "Wes, no." I cut her off. "You don't get to come back here. Not now. Not ever. But we're your family." I smiled. "No, you're just people I used to help." I turned my back and walked inside. Let the sea swallow her cries. Let her rot in the silence she helped create. 2 days passed. Then 4. No calls. No knocks. No text from any number I didn't recognize. Just wind, salt air, and Tyler's old radio humming classic rock between bursts of static. It was the most peace I'd had in years. I even started sleeping through the night again. Then, late on a Tuesday afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. I answered it. A mistake. "Wesley Mercer?" A man's voice. Cold. Clipped. "Who's asking?" "My name is Detective Klein. I'm calling in regard to a domestic incident filed in Corpus Cove. Are you currently in town?" I froze. "No, I'm not." "I see. We received a report that you made verbal threats to your sister's family, disabled their access to essential utilities, and abandoned shared financial responsibilities. They're claiming emotional harm, potential endangerment of a minor. I nearly dropped the phone. You're kidding. This is a formal investigation, sir. I suggest you cooperate. I hung up. My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. I paced the deck of the boat, my hands trembling. This wasn't just petty revenge now. They were trying to destroy me, trying to flip the narrative, play the victim, and drag my name through the mud just because I stopped being their mule. It was war now. I called Tyler. He answered on the first ring. Yo, I need a favor. I owe you about $7. I need footage from that marina camera from the day Dana showed up. You got it, and I'm heading back tonight. Want me to gas the boat? No, I said. This time I'm driving straight into the fire. By midnight, I was back in Corpus Cove. I didn't go to my apartment. I went straight to the courthouse, pulled every public record I could find, mortgage defaults, overdue notices, small claims judgments, anything with their names on it. I had a folder so thick it barely fit in my bag, and I had a plan. The next morning, I walked into the police station, cool as a winter breeze. Detective Klein looked surprised. Mr. Mercer, you wanted cooperation. I brought it. I dropped the folder on his desk. You want to know why I cut them off? Write every page. He opened it, brows furrowed, scanned a few sheets. You paid their mortgage for 3 years? Yep. You covered credit cards, car payments, medical bills, all while being mocked, publicly, repeatedly. Klein looked up. This paints a different picture. I leaned in. Tell me something, detective. If a man stops feeding the people who spit in his face, is he the villain? He said nothing. I walked out before he could. I could have ended it there. Let them collapse on their own. But no. They wanted drama. I'd give them a show. The next Sunday was Ryland's baseball championship. Whole town was coming. I showed up 10 minutes before first pitch, quiet, unassuming. And then I saw him, my father, in the bleachers, arms crossed, face like thunderclouds. Mom sat beside him, already red-eyed. Dana was pacing near the concession stand, phone glued to her ear. They spotted me at the same time. My dad stood up. You've got nerve, boy. No, I said calmly. I've got receipts. Then I raised my hand. At my signal, a projector lit up the back fence, and on it, a slideshow, receipts, payment logs, canceled checks, a running tally, Wesley Mercer. $127,843 paid for a family who told him he was nothing. Gasps, whispers, phones came out, faces turned. Dana sprinted over, screaming, Are you insane? This is Ryland's day! Exactly, I said. He should know the truth. You think you're some kind of hero? No, just tired. Then she slapped me, right there in front of half the town. My cheek stung. People gasped. One kid dropped his snow cone. I didn't. Flinch. Consider that your final withdrawal, I said. Then I turned and walked off the field as the projector faded and the crowd erupted into stunned chatter. That night, I sat in my car and watched the sun set behind the stadium. Then I drove to my apartment. Parked, went upstairs, poured a glass of whiskey, and for the first time in my life, I felt peace. Not petty victory, not revenge, just peace, because the truth was finally louder than their lies. I thought after the baseball field stunt, they'd back off. They didn't. They doubled down. 2 days later, I got served. Yep, served. Dana filed a restraining order. Me, the guy who gave her rent money for 2 years, the guy who kept her kid in, school, her lights on, her fridge full, the accusation. Ongoing psychological torment. She even had the audacity to list the slideshow as public harassment. Claimed Ryland couldn't sleep. Said my presence was a threat to the emotional safety of her family. The irony? They'd shown up to my apartment 3 times in the past week. Once, my mom banged on the door for 15 minutes straight, screaming about divine punishment. Dad sat on the curb, drinking from a paper bag, yelling that I had ruined his legacy, but now they were the victims. I lawyered up. My attorney, Cass, was sharp, blunt, and about as empathetic as a brick wall. Exactly what I needed. They're playing the long game, she said. They're hoping to bleed you dry in court until you come crawling back. Seen this 100 times. Blood leeches in designer guilt. I nodded. So we fight? We nuke, she smirked. We filed a countersuit, defamation, harassment, trespassing. And then we subpoenaed the security footage from the marina, the texts Dana had sent, the Facebook posts Dad had written, publicly. about me being a parasite and mentally unstable. Each piece was another nail in the coffin, and I was done, handing them nails gently. Then came the hospital call. It was Mom. She was admitted for chest pains, high blood pressure, stress. I wish I could say I didn't feel anything, but I did. I sat on the floor of my apartment with the phone in my hand for almost an hour, staring at nothing, replaying memories of her tucking me in as a kid, her humming in the kitchen on Sunday mornings, her chasing me around the backyard with a garden hose. That woman had been gone for years. The one in the hospital was the same person who let her grandson mock me while she laughed and stuffed her mouth with birthday cake. I didn't visit. Dana texted me that night. Dana, Mom might die, Wes. You gonna ghost us again like a coward? I replied with one word. Karma. But karma had a sense of humor, because just when I thought I'd hit bottom with them, I got a call from my boss. Wes, look, I'm not accusing anyone, but someone's been emailing the company's board with, well, let's just say, claims. What kind of claims? That you have a substance problem, that you've been misusing company funds, that you're emotionally unstable. Silence. You're not under investigation, but we had to flag it. We trust you, but watch your back, all right? I ended the call and sat at my desk, heart pounding. They were trying to take everything now, not just my dignity, my job, my livelihood. That night, I drove. No music, no GPS, just rage. I ended up outside Dana's place. I didn't go in, I didn't knock. I just sat across the street, engine running, staring at the porch where I'd once assembled Ryland's trampoline in 103-degree heat while they watched from inside. And suddenly, Dana walked out, phone to her ear, laughing. She paused, looked across the street, saw me. For a split second, her face changed. Panic? Shame? No. Smugness. She waved, mocking. I turned the wheel and drove off, but I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. The next day, I made one final move. I met Cass at the courthouse and filed a cease and desist, backed with evidence of harassment, blackmail, and employment sabotage. And then I transferred all my accounts, froze my credit, took my name off everything remotely connected to them. I even legally changed my emergency contact to a local vet who'd once patched up a stray cat I rescued. More trustworthy than anyone I shared blood with. Cass raised her brow at that. Symbolic, I said. She smiled. Also kind of genius. At night, I stared at the ceiling and thought, what now? They couldn't reach me financially. They couldn't get to me emotionally. So what would they try next? I didn't have to wait long. That Friday, I got an email, no subject line, no sender, just one attachment. A photo. Me. Walking to my car, bag in hand. Captioned, you think you're safe? You're not. I stared at the photo for a long time. Me in my hoodie, my car, my bag, taken from maybe 20 feet away. The timestamp was from yesterday. Broad daylight, less than 2 hours after I'd left the courthouse. Someone was following me, watching me, tracking my every step. I should have been scared, and maybe a small part of me was, but mostly, I was furious. I sent the photo to Cass. She called me 2 minutes later. This is stalking, Wes. We're escalating. Restraining order, police report, everything. I said nothing. She continued, they've crossed the line. And when people cross lines like this, they don't go back. You need protection. I didn't want protection. I wanted revenge. I parked my car at a different building that night. Not my apartment, not Tyler's marina, an empty lot behind my old high school. Then I walked. Just my hoodie, my keys, and a disposable flip phone in my pocket. I had a plan. 2 blocks from Dana's house was a bar called Joe's Crawl Space. Cheap beer, terrible wings, a jukebox that only worked when it wanted to, and, more importantly, a bartender named Marnie. Marnie used to date Dana's ex, knew all the dirt, loved gossip, and she hated my sister. I sat at the bar and ordered a Coke. She looked surprised. You're still alive? Barely. What brings you here, black sheep? I need information. She leaned in. Spill. I showed her the photo. She whistled. Creepy. Someone's following me. I think I know who. But I need confirmation. She thought for a moment, then reached under the bar, pulled out a wrinkled napkin and scribbled a name. Not Dana, not Dad, not even Mom. It said, Greg Miller. Greg was Dana's ex, Ryland's biological father, a guy I hadn't seen in nearly 10 years. He vanished after the custody battle, after Dana bled him dry in court and spat him out like used gum. Last, I heard he lived in a camper and sold fake Oakleys at flea markets. And now, he was following me? I tracked him down that same night. He wasn't hard to find. Still had the same vanity plate. GR8DADTX. I parked a block away and waited. At 10:47 p.m., I watched him step out of a gas station with 2 packs of beer and a microwaved burrito. I approached, calm, cold. Greg. He froze. Turned slowly. Recognition flashed in his bloodshot eyes. Wes? What the hell are you doing? He laughed. I could ask you the same. Heard you became the family piggy bank. I cut them off. I'm guessing they came running. To you next. He snorted. Dana wouldn't spit on me if I was on fire. No, she didn't ask. She paid. I blinked. She what? He pulled out his phone, scrolled, showed me a Venmo history, multiple payments, labeled favor, delivery, tracking. You've been stalking me for money? He shrugged. Times are hard. You sent me that photo? He grinned. Didn't think you'd take it so personal. Something in me snapped. I lunged, grabbed his shirt and shoved him against his rusted truck. Beer dropped and exploded on the pavement. You think this is a game? Wes, you scare me. You cost me my job. You threaten me and think it's just business? His breath hitched. I didn't mean, Dana just wanted to know where you were. She said it was for Ryland. I released him, took a step back, and then laughed. Laughed so hard my stomach hurt. For Ryland, I repeated, still laughing. He looked genuinely terrified now. I leaned close. You go near me again, Greg. I'll bury you in court so deep you'll need a shovel to get visitation rights with your shadow. He nodded. Okay. I went straight to the police station, handed over the Venmo records, the photo. Greg's name, plate number, phone number. They opened a case that night. Then I drove home. Not to my apartment. To Mom and Dad's house. The lights were on. I knocked. Mom opened the door in her robe, hair messy, face pale. She gasped. Wes? I walked right in. Dad was on the couch, beer in hand. He stood, wobbled, and scowled. You've got a lot of— Sit down! I snapped, and he did. I pulled out my phone and played the recording of Greg. His voice. His confession. The proof. Dana paid Greg to stalk me. Send photos. Scare me. You knew? They said nothing. Answer me, Mom finally whispered. She told us it was just to make you scared enough to come home. Scared enough to come home? You sent a felon to hunt me down? Dad flinched. It wasn't supposed to go that far. No, I said, voice shaking. You crossed a line. All of you. And then I said the thing I hadn't said in 15 years. I disown this family. The room was dead silent. My parents looked like ghosts, pale, stunned, crumbling under the weight of what I'd just said. I disown this family. Dad opened his mouth like he was going to argue. But no sound came out. His jaw just hung there. Like an unplugged appliance. Useless. Mom's hand clutched her chest. Wesley, don't say that. Please. You called me a parasite, I said. You let them stalk me, humiliate me, sabotage my job. You never protected me. You only protected your golden daughter and her demon spawn. Ryland's just a child, she said, her voice cracking. No, I shot back. He's a mirror of you, of Dana, of everything I refuse to become. Then I pulled out the envelope. Thick, heavy. This is my final gift. I tossed it onto the coffee table. What? Is it? Dad muttered, eyeing it like it might explode. It's the severance package, I said. A compiled record of every cent I ever gave this family. Receipts, bank statements, payment logs, along with a notarized letter disowning all financial responsibility for any of you, forever. It's also been emailed to your landlord, your utilities, and every loan officer tied to your names. I'm off everything. But what about— Mom started. The house? I cut in. Gone in 60 days unless you start paying for it yourself? She covered her mouth. I wasn't finished. I've also given full copies to the courthouse. My lawyer and— I turned to Dad, locking eyes with him. Your boss. He blinked. What? What does my boss have to do with this? Oh, just the part where your son was unstable and abusive. He saw the police report. The surveillance footage. He knows the truth now. About all of it. Dad slumped into the recliner. Not even drunk. Just defeated. I stood at the door. Consider this meeting my funeral. From now on, talk about me like I'm dead. Because I am. To you. And I left. The fallout came fast. Within days, Dana lost custody of Rylan. Turns out, hiring a known felon to stalk your brother doesn't sit well with family court. The judge cited gross parental negligence. Rylan went to live with his dad, Greg Perfect Karma, in its purest, ugliest form. Dad lost his job after all. His company didn't want liability risk. I didn't even have to push. He imploded on his own. Mom? She had a mild stroke 2 weeks later. Stress-induced, the doctors said. They reached out. Of course they did. Emails, voicemails, even handwritten letters, begging me to come back, to forgive, to be the bigger man. I ignored everyone, months passed, and I healed. I got a promotion. Started dating again. Took long walks without flinching at every stranger who looked my way. Tyler and I even started a side hustle, weekend charter tours. I found peace in the waves, in silence. Then one afternoon, I walked into a cafe downtown, ordered my coffee, and there, sitting in the corner, was Rylan, alone, head down, shoulders slumped, face tired in a way a teenager shouldn't be. He looked up and froze. "Uncle." "Wes," he whispered. We locked eyes. He stood, walked over, stopped a foot away. Then, quietly, he said the words I never expected. "I'm sorry." I didn't answer, just stared at him. "For everything," he added. "What I said, what I did, I didn't know it was going to go that far." I exhaled. "You meant what you said, Rylan. You were just young enough to say it out loud." He blinked, looked down. "But," I added, "you've still got time to change. Don't become them." He nodded. "I'm trying." I left him with that, no hug, no redemption arc, just truth. That night, I sat by the ocean. Waves rolled in steady, the stars stretched wide above me, and I thought they buried me, mocked me, stalked me, tried to ruin me, and I came back stronger. Not because I fought them, but because I walked away. Let the fire burn, let the bridges collapse, let the silence be the final scream. And here it is, the finale of today's story. Did everything turn out as you imagined, or did it end unexpectedly? I'd love to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into the discussion together. If this story kept you in suspense, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? This is your chance to join an incredible community where exciting new stories unfold every day. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date. Thanks for your attention and see you on your new adventures.